Imagine spending 14 years at school, then 3 years at university, only to get a job where you're doing mediocre tasks, manual labor, which can just be replaced by AI. This is the exact same situation that Jason Ben found himself in 2012 when he graduated from the University of Virginia with an economics degree to join as a financial consultant, where his job was to rearrange data sets on a spreadsheet. Excel has at this point become a meme. What he realized that it would take him 6 long hours of proper working to figure out all of this stuff, while the veterans, the expert, the skilled ones at that firm took just 3 hours. But something inside him clicked, and he asked himself the question: can't this whole thing be automated? Because I'm doing the 6 hours of the same task every day. I'm supposed to do data manipulation, the same kind of data manipulation with different data on every single day. What he found changed his life forever. He learned something called Excel macros. What it does is exactly what he does for 6 hours, except if he set up the macro, then all the tasks that he does, which takes him 6 hours every single day, would now be done with a click of a single button. Imagine how shocked you will be having spent 3 years from a prestigious college, the University of Virginia economics degree, only to be replaced by an Excel macro. It shook his world. And he decided and he told his family that he's going to quit his job and become a computer program, except that he didn't know anything about computer programming. He didn't know shit, okay? He decides to become a computer program. Now he has to learn this difficult skill of computer programming in a small amount of time. Why? Because he quit his job and he has to support his family. And also the field of computer programming, computers, coding, AI, and all those fields, you know that it advanced very fast. So if you're not good at learning things faster, you will be replaced by someone else who had a head start. And the approach that he takes to learn this in a small amount of time to become an expert of that field, that technique is what I'm going to teach you today. In the previous video, I told you why it is important that we cultivate the habit of deep work, how valuable it is, and all those things. And then in this video, I'm going to tell you how to cultivate it and how you can leverage that to make a shit ton of money in this economy. He needed to learn from scratch, from zero, all of computer programming. And the typical approach people like me take, because I'm a college student myself, we go find the lectures on YouTube, we go find websites that help us do the coding on the internet. But the problem that he found with this method is that when you go into a website, when you go onto YouTube, you get suggested all these videos, you get these ads, you get all these things that are going on, you got messages that pop up on your screen, you got friends texting you about random drama that happened last week, and all these things come because of the internet. So he decided that he had to find a method to be able to study this new skill. That skill by itself is very difficult, and he had to do it in a very small amount of time to become a successful computer programmer within a span of few months. Now, how would you learn computer programming without using internet or a computer? The thing is, he decided that there are enough books out there is enough material out there that he can take, that he can print out, that the books that he can buy. And he collected all of those things and he locked himself in a room with just those books, sticky notes and flashcards and all those things which will help him learn all of computer programming. The skill that I've been teasing this whole time, popularized by the author Carl Newport, is called deep work. Deep work is the task that is performed with uninterrupted attention for a long stretch of time. This long stretch of time means that you go deeper and deeper into that work for hours on end. I'm talking 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted work. He locked himself in the room. There is no distractions. There is nothing else he can do except study programming. He goes through each book page by page, he underlines, he highlights, he takes notes, he has those flashcards and all those things. In the beginning, it was difficult for him. He was able to study for like 1 hour on one stretch. Then eventually he started cultivating this habit. He started getting better at the skill of deep work. If you haven't already watched it, I've already made a video about deep work, which is the previous video. In the previous video, I told you about why deep work is important. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to do deep work. I'm going to give you examples like the case of Jason Ben. He did the skill, he used the skill, and within 2 months, he became so good at programming that after that 2 months, he went on to a boot camp, which is where these nerdy computer guys, programmers go to, and they attend this program, and at the end of it, they're tested and they're given a score. Even people with computer degrees and PhD programs from high level colleges, even they struggle in this test. And he not only just passed the exam, he was number one in that test. Within a span of few months, he went from not knowing anything about coding to becoming one of the top scorers against people who spend a lot of years learning this very difficult but very valuable skill of programming. If he can do that within a few months by taking advantage of this skill of deep work, you can use that yourself to advance you in the realms of whatever pursuit that you have. It could be studies, it could be content creation, it could be the book that you're writing, it could be anything that requires intense focus. Usually what people come up with the excuse is, I have friends who are doing architecture, their excuse usually is, we have a collaborative kind of work. I cannot force myself to do that work. I need to get into the mood. I need to be in a certain type of mentality at that time to be able to do that. See, the thing with people is that before they even try the actual technique, they always try to come up with excuses to defend the strategy that they already use to do those tasks. What I found with my friends who are doing architecture is that they usually procrastinate a lot, and when it's near deadline, they just pull all-nighters and complete those tasks. I have suggested to them that they can actually, if they just put consistent 2-3 hour blocks every single day, then they wouldn't have to sabotage their sleep or their health to try to submit on time. But they didn't take the approach. Like most of us won't, because we will always find an excuse. I could make the excuse, oh, I have to stay connected with my followers, I have to keep engaging in my community to be successful in my field. Not really. If you remember from the previous video, I've mentioned how every job, anything that you do, you can divide the tasks and then you can put them on a tier list, and I assure you that the top 3 or 4 tasks will give you the 80% of the results. The remaining 14-15 tasks that you end up doing, that takes up a little bit of attention of yours, a little bit of concentration at different points of the day, are ruining the top 3 things that actually matter. If I'm a content creator, the most important things are the scripting, the planning, the scripting, and the recording and the editing. It will be the 4 tasks basically. I don't know how I forgot to count. But it will be these 4 tasks. Nothing's more important than this. But people end up wasting their time replying to comments, engaging in community for more than they need to, all those things. The thing about the difference between deep work and shallow work is to be able to identify which work is deep work worthy and which one is not worthy of it, which you can call shallow work, which probably even doesn't add up much to your success. Now that I've convinced you that deep work is important and I've given you a small hint on how you can do it, I'm going to give you many more pointers on this actual art of deep work. One of the most important things that you gotta do is get rid of social media. Stop being updated on all the cultural drama and all those things. Like if you follow celebrity culture and all those things are going to take your attention from you. I've talked about task switching before. You can watch the previous video so that I don't have to repeat myself in every video. The thing is, if you quit social media, if you delete Instagram, if you delete TikTok today, you're going to save a lot of time. And if you do 2 hours next week, when you've completely stopped social media, the 2 hours next week would give you a lot more productivity because there is more attention. There is less things that have taken up your attention cost. Imagine that you have a bowl and there is attention bowls. You're giving your attention to each tasks. Now, you give it, then you take it back. But now imagine you've given it and that task takes a bite off of that bowl and gives it back. So eventually, when you have more and more tasks, you've given and take it back, given, take it back. Each task eats up from your attention, and eventually, when you give it to your final task, which is the most important one, you have less attention to give. Your attention is fragmented. You find it more difficult and to concentrate, and also you feel like your intensity of concentration is less. And it's not just a feeling, it is actually the truth. You can go through the book Deep Work by Carl Newport to look at the studies that shows the things. I'm not going to give you that, I'm not that nerdy. Once you eliminate distractions like that, like social media, and also talking to people about all these gossiping, being in touch with drama actually messes up with your head and also keeps you distracted for a longer periods of time. So once you cut that out, you can create an environment like the one I have here. This is my room, this is where I live, and I live alone here. And the thing about this room is that whenever I have to make a video, whenever I have to think, whenever I have to write, I am currently writing a book. Whenever I have to do any task that requires my full undivided attention, and because I live alone, I am able to harness that, and I can tell people, hey, at this time, just don't come to the room. I'll be doing this task. And it works. I have friends. Whenever my work is done, I could just go to them and spend time with them. But when I need to work, when I need that time of course, you would be living with your parents, maybe you're living with a couple of roommates. But there are ways you can eliminate those distractions. One of the ways you can do it is, of course, noise cancelling headphones, or if they're not noise cancelling, you can always go onto YouTube and search up white noise. What it will do is it will give you a noise, which means that you won't hear anything from your surroundings. And the next thing you can do is always keep your desk facing a wall, so that if your roommates are walking by, or if they're talking, if they're just doing shit, you won't see it. And if you want to go even more hardcore, you can wear a hoodie while you work, so that like nothing else is even happening in your peripheral vision. These are the things that you can do to create an atmosphere that is capable of deep work. And I've given you workarounds to some of the common problems that people have when trying to achieve deep work. Now, that these things are external problems that you will have when trying to achieve deep work. The internal problem is that you can't focus, you can't sit idle, you can't just sit, because this guy just keeps producing things that keeps you distracted. Basically, your concentration keeps getting fragmented because of all these thoughts that keeps going in your head. I've just noticed that the camera changed the shutter speed. No, see, my concentration got taken away, and I lost a little bit. That attention that I just lost, I won't get it back ever. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I've already given you the workarounds for the external problems, but the internal problems you're gonna work on yourself. One of the things that you gotta do is, whenever you see yourself lost in thought, you gotta bring yourself back to your work. And you're gonna have to practice meditation for this, because a lot of people don't understand the importance of meditation. Meditation helps you keep your mind focused. And this video is not about meditation, it's about deep work. So I'm going to tell you, just look up meditation. You can use the app Medito that I've been using so far to have a daily meditation of 3 minutes, 20 minutes. You can work your time up as you go, but meditation will help you focus more. Work that you choose to do during a deep work session also matters. Let's say you're a student. If you take deep work, if you follow the advice of this video, then you decide to do deep work. And what you do is you go and sit there and watch a lecture for 2 hours and call it deep work. That'd be stupid, right? The way you're going to do it is you're going to find the most optimized way to do the task that you want to do. And then you're going to do it in that deep work session. Let's say it will take you 2 hours to read through and highlight and try out problems from a chapter. It would take you 3 hours. So how you're going to do is you're going to walk into your room. You're gonna put your phone on airplane mode. You're gonna, even if you can leave it in another room, that would be best. You're gonna walk into that room. You're gonna give yourself 2 hours to do that chapter that is gonna take you 3 hours. Now, because you're doing it in a deep work manner, you're going to be much more efficient, you're going to be faster, and you're going to just sit there with that book. There is only one option for you at that time, which is that book. Nothing else. You don't permit yourself to do anything else. In this manner, you force yourself to complete that task. And let's say you gave yourself 2 hours and you couldn't complete it in 2 hours. I'm telling you, you will do it in 2 hours and 15 minutes instead of taking 3 hours. You saved there 45 minutes. And I'm not telling you to use that 45 minutes to study something else, but use that 45 minutes to live life, go out, maybe get some sun, take a walk. The thing with deep work is that once you're able to leverage this, you get to live a lot more. You get a lot of free time while you're much more efficient at the work that you do. Now, I've given you enough cues, and for the remaining things, when something goes wrong, you're not going to sit there and cry, okay, but he didn't mention this issue. You're going to grow up, you're going to think about the problem that you're going to have, and you're going to think about how you can deal with it and fix that problem yourself, and give yourself the capacity for deep work. And mind you, this is going to be difficult in the beginning. You're going to cultivate this skill over time, and eventually you're going to get better and better at this. And eventually it's going to come as second nature for you, that you just uninterrupted sessions of long focus for long periods of time, and you don't even mind, and it just feels good, because when you're efficient and when you're going deep into the work, it is much more satisfying than when you just do it for the sake of getting it done. That's about it for this video. I think that will be enough from me about deep work. There are a lot more videos on the channel, and also if you want any help with me mentoring you, setting goals for you, planning out your future stuff, you got some tasks to be done within 3 months, how would you set a timeline for that? All those things I can help you out. If you DM me on Instagram, I'll figure out a plan that will work for both of us. I will be able to sit down 1 hour a week with you and discuss about it, and I'm going to think for the solution throughout the week, then come back to you the next week and give you the solution that you're looking for. DM me on Instagram, top link in the description. Second link in the description will be my Discord server, where we can engage in that community, where people are talking about topics just like this, and people will be pushing each other. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope you have a great future ahead.